started in yoga? What's your initial journey like?
Well, in 2019, I decided to get with other people and just try different things in 2019. And so I was on Meetup app, and it was a free gathering for yoga meetup. And I was like, okay, I've never really done it before, or when I did do it, it was like sporadically, not really consistent. So in 2019, I was like, okay, I went to the meetup and it was free. So I enjoyed that part. I also enjoyed meeting the new people. And by the end of the session, I was like, this felt good. And I didn't know what it was about it. And so I said, I want to make this part of my fitness. So I went back because it was continued. And I kept going back. And then COVID happened and everything shut down. And so it was around the summertime when I started going, and then COVID happened. But even in COVID, I decided, hey, I want to continue doing yoga. I want to continue this practice because I'm feeling good. It's helping me. I feel it emotionally, mentally. I just felt it. And I was like, let me look on YouTube for some yoga practices. I didn't know what I was looking for. So I just Googled, I said, how do I feel today? I had been a little depressed. So I looked up yoga for depression. And then I might have had a migraine. So I looked up yoga for migraines. And so that's how I kept building my practice from week to week. And I just kept it going by that. So when studios opened up, I was like, let me find a studio to go to and practice yoga. And I was like, okay. So I went and I found one, and if it resonated, I continued to go. But most of the time, I was just going around to different ones. Even still doing my YouTube, whatever the emotion that I felt was calling for me, that's what I looked up for the yoga practice. And I just kept going. And I was like, this feels different. So I decided to go to school for yoga teacher training because I knew it was something that was helping me mentally, emotionally, and physically. But I didn't quite know what it was until I went to school and really dove into the practice. That's how I got started.
Thank you. And I just drew a blank. Forgive me. Dr. Kaylin or Kaylee? Kaylee. Dr. Kaylee, how did you get started, and what was your initial journey like?
All right, so I started back in 2005. At the time, I was living in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was in the early stages of my surgical residency. So I am a trained orthopedic surgeon, and the program that I was in was extremely toxic. They had been around over 25 years, and I was the first, not just woman of color, but any person of color to ever matriculate through that program. And just the fourth woman, and they let us know every single day that we really didn't belong there. So it was extremely toxic and very stressful, on top of just being a surgical resident, like it was already bad. So, you know, going to work every day was like going to war. Like it was very hostile, and I became hardened and reactive. And that kind of like spilled over into my personal life with my friendships, my relationships with my family. And so I would take out my frustrations because, again, I come from a long line. I was a competitive gymnast my whole life. I was a competitive dancer. I danced all through college. So movement had always kind of been my outlet, my medicine. And so one of my birthdays, my friends give me a gift card to this yoga studio. And they're like, you need yoga. And I'm like, I don't need yoga. I need to punch something. I need kickboxing. Like, I don't need yoga. So reluctantly, I go to yoga. And initially, I was drawn to like the vinyasa, the dynamic classes, because I was a dancer. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm like the obnoxious one in the front, like doing the handstands. I'm like, oh, this is so fun. And then I took a yin class by mistake. It just fit with my schedule. I had no idea what yin yoga was. So we're on the mat, and I'm, type A, controlling, ADD, like all the things that don't go with yin yoga. And we're sitting there, and I felt like this is a waste of time. We've been in this same pose for like 3 minutes. Like, what do we do? What do we do? What is the point of this? And then she put us in this pose called double pigeon or fire log. And for those of you know, it's a really intense hip opener. So I'm sitting there in this pose, and I felt like my hips were on fire. And I was like, oh, I can't stand this. This is horrible. And then I started feeling the heat rise in my body, and I started feeling nauseous. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to throw up? Like, what's wrong with me? Yeah, it's real. It's a visceral response. So I ended up vomiting tears. I just started crying uncontrollably in this class. It was like an exorcism. I couldn't stop. And I was thoroughly embarrassed. And we still had the other side to do. So at the end of the class, I go and I apologize to the teacher. I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know, what that outburst was. And she explained to me, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. And I was like, say what? Like, that's not what I thought was going to happen. And so that was kind of my start of using yoga to heal me and allow me to release things in a healthy way. She explained to me about how we suppress trauma and negative energy and emotions like guilt, shame, frustration, anger. All those things are in the hips, and that's why we yogis love hip openers, because as you know, the body keeps the score. And if we do not release things in a healthy manner, they're going to manifest. They're going to manifest as high blood pressure, as an autoimmune disease, as cancer, of all of these things. And so that right there was kind of like my start on a different type of healing. Here I am in Western medicine learning how to operate on people and give them drugs. And I was going through this other sort of healing that literally kept me off of antidepressant medicines, anti-anxiety medicines, with all my other colleagues were on currently. And I always tell people that yoga literally saved my life, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing it now. So it was like, I started in 2005, and it wasn't until 2017 where I started doing my yoga teacher training and all that stuff and opened up my studio in 2022. But it's always been with me. Mindfulness is a practice, and I can't tell you how powerful it has been in my life, and just sharing it with as many people as I can.
Ashe, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like everyone found their healing, in yoga initially, which leads to the second question. And that is, why, in your opinion, should melanated people practice yoga? So, who would like to go first?
I'll go.
It's free.
I think mine is.
Okay.
Oh. Hello, hello.
Okay, is it back? Okay. Oh, it's back. Okay, it's back. All right, so why should melanated people practice yoga? So in my opinion, I think that it helps to calm the nervous system a lot. And right now, I think in this culture, it's more of a hustle culture. Like, we always have to keep going, pushing through no matter what. Even sometimes neglecting that we feel this pain somewhere in our body. Neglect it and brush it off, because we have to keep going to help someone else, to do something else, to do something, one more thing, right? And so we it helps to listen to our body. Yoga will help you to get into the body and the mind to actually feel and sit still in the body. This is my opinion. For me, sitting still in the body and being able to feel it, to listen to it, stop, and then do something about it. It helps to heal any of the trauma that is inside. Like she said about the hip openers, trauma stays in those hips. It may stay in other places, but a lot of times it stays in the hips. Helps to heal any of the trauma that hasn't been addressed. Also, maybe also taking time to tap in, listen to the dis-ease or the discomfort, and then taking action for that. On the two-part for that question, because I thought about it, right? Why should melanated people practice yoga? And I also have why melanated people don't practice yoga, right? It's like, in my opinion, I've gotten feedback. They think yoga is very religious, demonic, not open to trying. Also, the accessibility of it as far as time, because we're always doing. We don't have time to do yoga. But I think that is a myth. Yoga is more than, and also being flexible. They might be like, I'm not flexible enough. I'm not ready to come. It's so many, and then it's also, it's gonna be chanting and all this demonic stuff going on. And this is feedback that I've heard. So that's something that I realized that some melanated people do not practice, or why they don't. But it's such a healing process. Yoga can be very healing for those traumas that have not been addressed. So.
Thank you. Who is next?
I will just add on one other part because everything she said was beautiful. But, they came out, I think it was a year ago, and the CDC declared racism as a health crisis in the BIPOC community. And that's because, our experience in this country is different than those who are not melanated. We experience different stresses, even little microaggressions, all these little things that kind of like are little chips away at our mental health. And then if we don't take the time to simply breathe or do things to get us out of that, what we call our sympathetic nervous system. So our nervous system is designed to keep us safe, right? So if there's a bear running at you, your sympathetic nervous system is supposed to kick in, fight or flight, and you gotta run. That's normal. What's not normal is when we stay in that heightened state all the time. And as people of color in this country, it's very easy to stay in that heightened state all the time. And the issue is when we have that chronic state, it's a physiological response, right? Increases your heart rate, increases your blood pressure, right? And if you have this sustained over time, then you get chronic stress. And we all know stress leads to what? Hypertension, heart disease, stroke. All of these diseases, which have been shown to affect people of color disproportionately more than other people. And it's not just the other environmental things like, diet or lack of exercise. It's literally the stress that we experience every day that other people don't experience. So it's even more important for us to find these tools to calm our nervous system. Switch us off from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. And you do it just by breathing. I tell my yoga students all the time, deep breaths are like little love notes to your body, right? Breathing deeply tells your body, I'm safe. And if you notice, a lot of time we take these quick, shallow breaths throughout the day. right? That's keeping us in this heightened state of our nervous system. But when you take a deep diaphragmatic breath in through your nose, expanding thoracic cavity, so much of the diaphragm contraction, your belly expands, and then you press all the air out, that signals your vagus nerve to, oh, okay, I'm safe. Just by breathing, you can take yourself from this heightened state to a calmer state. You don't have to go to a studio. You don't have to listen to a video. Like, you can sit at your desk and breathe for 5 minutes. And that, they have shown, will add years to your life. On the converse, not breathing can take away years from your life, right? So breathing, breath work, pranayama, right? One of the 8 limbs of yoga. So simple, right? But we don't do it, right? And I think particularly for people of color, it is so important that we take the time to pause and breathe, not just for our own health, but so we can learn to respond to our environment that we might not have control of, but we have control of how it affects us, and we have control of how we respond to whatever is going around us.
Thank you. Can you give me a shorter version of your name so I don't mess it up? Kia. Because I keep wanting to call you your mama's name, and I know that you're not your mama. But okay, Kia, I'll go with that. Thank you, Queen.
What it seems to me today is that Black people, African people, people in America that are, who are descendants of Africa, we are in a, as she stated, a state of fight or flight. And from various, for various reasons, from various avenues of life. And we have the general things. We have our workplace, we have our children, we have our home life, we have all these normal things that encourage the stress, on top of the racism, on top of the dysfunction around us. But then we have that element of spirituality, and a lot of us don't know ourselves spiritually. And so we get dreams, we have all these different dynamics that come to us, and we're like, oh my God, what is this? But then, like you said, it's yoga is deemed demonic or evil, or, you know, people don't understand why we breathe into our bodies or why we release these things. But African Americans should practice some form of yoga. Is a word that doesn't always describe the energy that we carry in ourselves, and then the work that we do in our bodies to open ourselves up, to release, to heal, to, you know, go through our everyday experiences. But the idea of yoga is what helps us to relax, to release, to let go of past traumas, let go of past situationships that cause that interference in our thinking, that opens up our minds. Spirituality is something that is connected to any form of yoga, but it's not religious. And the confusion is that these are things that I can't practice because we don't do this at church, or we don't do this in our community, or we don't do this, but we need yoga. We, of all people, because we carry more trauma, more stress, more unhealthy habits than any other race of people on the planet, us here in America. So it's necessary for us to find a balance in a yoga practice. It encourages the breath. It encourages movement. It encourages geometrical progression. Geometrical progression, some people don't know what that is either, but it is the way to open your body up using the rule of 4 breathing techniques, which is what Kemetic yoga is based on. Geometric progression and rule of 4 breathing. And those two elements manifests throughout the body. It opens your mind, it opens your spirit, it connects you to all the things that you are, it connects you to your ancestors, it connects you to all the elements of nature. It gives you more sunlight, more intention to going outside, to being in nature, to receiving the energetic forces of healing through the elements of nature. So Black people need to do yoga. It's for our greater good. It's for the ability to enjoy the life that we live, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the state of the country is in, no matter what things are happening in and around us. It reminds us of who we are and why it's important that we were created, why it's important that we still have life in our body, why it's important for us to do the things that we do, to become, to know our purpose, to know our destiny. So we need to do yoga.
Ashe. Thank you, Kia.
So, does anybody not know what Sankofa is? You don't know? Can someone who knows what Sankofa, few people, okay. So can someone who knows what Sankofa is share what it is? Yes, that's essentially correct. Thank you so much, Brother Salim. Sankofa means go back and fetch it. Go back and reclaim what's yours. And the reason this is pertinent to Black people, especially as regards yoga, is because yoga is Sankofa. Yoga is a return to our ancestral way and reclaiming what is ours. The interesting thing is that, like everything Black people do from the mama land in prehistory or throughout the colonization and enslavement, we always have adapted. This imperishable something that we are, in essence, has always adapted to the moment so that we can move on to our next evolution. Sankofa is not different. When we say Sankofa, we tend to think of going back, reclaiming our history. And this is true. But when Sankofa was first formulated as a philosophy of recognition, we knew our history. We were not removed from it. Therefore, what was it that we were to reclaim? Our connection with spirit, to our chefs. So, there's a few things, and there's so much here the panel wants to say. I want to hear them. So I will be brief, but there are a few things, a few elements that if we use them as a frame of reference, then everything explains itself. First, let's conclude with the business of yoga being Sankofa. We know that today there are these people in India who call themselves the Dalits. The Dalits means crushed and broken. These are people who are not part of the Hindu caste system. They are those who refuse to submit to subjugation, and so now experience a subjugation that is so horrific. A Georgia sharecropper in the 1920s, they would envy that state of a Georgia sharecropper, what they experience today. And these are the people who are the original indigenous founders, establishers of the Indus Valley civilization, including what we know today as yoga. Now, there's a great deal to be said about that, but the fact is that these people, they have been pushed into this area of India called Bihar. They still occupy other places, but this is like the last enclave or the strongest enclave of these indigenous people. And it just so happened that when both the Buddha and Mahavira is the founder of Jainism. If you're not familiar with Jainism, it's like extreme Buddhism in that they practice ahimsa, nonviolence, in a way that is just par excellence. It's beyond. They would even eat, for example, honey because too many enzymes when they do no harm. So both the founder of, and they were contemporaries, Buddha and Mahavira, the founder of Buddhism, the founder of Jainism, went to Bihar among these black people. And it was there among our black people, our ancestors, they achieved enlightenment. So, there's no question yoga is ours. In fact, the final thing to say on that, and I'm going to relinquish the mic, is that terms matter. For example, we say the black contribution to civilization, that cheats truth. You know, one of the elements I was going to mention that is so important for us to really get, and once we internalize it, everything explains itself, is that wholeness means wholeness. If you do incomplete things, you get incomplete results. You do whole things, you get whole results. And one of the whole things that we really have to work towards being consistent with is just our definition of reality. So when we say, for example, the black contribution to civilization, contribution, we contribute, we are the founders. Vast different, you see? So, in like manner, we talk about yoga. We have the so-called Black Yoga Alliance. Kudos to them. But, what are we doing there? Black yoga? No, we practice yoga. The other stuff, that's white yoga. Let's keep it 100, you see? And so when we say, why should we do yoga? It's returning to our ancestral power. The last thing I would say about that, I know I've been holding the mic too long, is that nothing exists in the vacuum. Sisters were talking about the power of the breath. And of course, the short version is that spirit is everywhere, right? Space is everywhere. There cannot be two everywheres. Therefore, space and spirit are two aspects of one thing, right? So that means that we sit here surrounded by space, we're surrounded by spirit, right? Wholeness again. And this helps us in understanding our purpose and our connection to yoga because we think that, whoa, if you look at, say, the space right here with my fingers pointing, it's not separated from the space over there or in the parking lot, you know, or in Tassili's. The whole space is just one space, one thing. The space in your nostrils is not separate from the physically inaccessible depths of the space in a black hole. You know, it's a wholeness. And as above, so below. Nothing exists in a vacuum. So to conclude, there's so much to say about this, but to conclude, we need to do yoga because it restores us to our ancestral power. In this moment, again, as above, so below is all a oneness. The deletion from YouTube of videos having to do with the genocide in Palestine, the failure of the Trump administration to release funds for food stamps, the genocide in Sudan. There's not a single thing that is not connected, what part of this one whole picture. And so as black people, you know how we are affected. It's becoming more and more evident, all those who want to run away and turn their heads like, it's not me, I got money, I'm good. We see how crucial, the moment, that we're moving into is. So we have to restore ourselves to full power, short version. And yoga is the thing to do that.
Ashe. Thank you, Baba Atiba. We have tapped into already. How has practicing yoga helped you to heal? For the most part, but we can go into that a little deeper. I just really would like to throw my 2 cents in on that, to just acknowledge that in my journey in practicing yoga, I also found that those of us who consider ourselves indigenous to this land too practice yoga as well. It was practiced throughout the Olmec Mayan culture. You can find statues and things. They even had a term called Kultanlilni, which Kundalini, you know, and they talk about the rise of the 7 gates and the breath and the so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into any detail about that, but just know that everywhere we are, yoga has been, period. It may have been called different things, but if we learn to practice or look for the tenets of yoga, which I would like to just briefly share, then we can see it hidden in plain sight. My yoga instructor, who was a student of Yogi Bhajan, would always say to us that yoga chooses you. You don't choose yoga. Yoga chooses you. And in hearing everyone's journey, we were chosen. And so the call is always there for us. One of the things that I would do, because I agree with all of the things that you all are saying, to help make yoga relatable for our people, was to just go into the disciplines. Raja yoga, that's meditation. That's focus. Anything you focusing on, you meditating. Do it with intention. Pranayama, that's breathing. You already breathing. So how about just focus and be intentional about your breath? Hatha yoga, well, if you're reaching for a glass of water, or you walking, or you standing, you're practicing hatha. You're moving. Do it intentionally. And then bhakti yoga, that's just the yoga of kindness and grace and gratitude. So you can smile and practice yoga. You can smile. You could give someone a compliment. You can have a positive thought. You can help someone along the way. You could do a good deed in like cleaning up your house. And you are practicing bhakti yoga. So it doesn't have to be this thing that we take and isolate as a specific practice. Yoga does truly mean union. It's in every aspect of our lives. We have to but see it, hidden in plain sight, and then intentionally practice it and let others know that, hey, you already doing it. It's not something you got to go and sit with somebody with. You can. That will help. But you're already doing it. And so when we can take the time to bring that oneness that you spoke about, space being everywhere, that wholeness, which, by the way, I spell whole, W-H-O-L-E, holistic. It allows for us to start to see the connection. And, of course, showing people pictures of the Buddha. That man's hair is nappy as what? Beautiful coils. The Buddha is everywhere. Pyramids are everywhere. When we can show our living Sankofa connection, then it's not so abstract. I practiced Islam for a while. Salat is yoga. Okay? Dhikring is yoga. That's chanting. Those are your mantras. When you can take the time to show people the connections, practicing martial arts is a form of yoga. It's not so abstract anymore. And our people tend to be able to relate to it. So, if you all, thank you. If you all want to go on and, talk more about how yoga has helped you to heal, you can. Or we can go on to the next question. It's up to you. And Salim, I don't know how much more time we have. As we have, okay, so can you give an example of your favorite posture and tell of its health benefits? Who would like to go first? You need a mic?
I like to say in Kemetic yoga, we have a sequence. It's not just a posture. It's a sequence called Ma'at-Ka. Essentially, Ma'at-Ka takes about 7 minutes to perform just one round of it. And 7 is one of my favorite numbers. But Ma'at Ka, sorry. Ma'at Ka, to me, is about total alignment. It connects your mind, body, and spirit. And so the movements are rooted in the opening of our throats, connecting to Ra, the sun, connecting back down to the earth, moving in ways that every part of your body, most especially your spinal cord, which is the alignment, is activated, and that energy moves throughout every part of you, including the spiritual part of you. And so Ma'at Ka is something that I like to do at any given time, whenever I just need some help, whenever I just want to find some peace in my body or kind of pull myself back together. I practice Ma'at Ka, and it works like a charm. And you can do Ma'at Ka as a moving, it's
I'm just saying, I don't know what Celine
got on
had in
heels
mind with
today.
that question. Man, you can come on, Queen,
I
you
can
take
do
those
some of
heels
it,
off.
but
And just show us so that we can really get the fullness of what you're talking about.
I do the quicker version of it. So you're standing, in Kemetic yoga, our stance is our big toes are together, our heels are slightly open, our feet are planted firmly into the earth, our shoulders are relaxed, we're in Kemetic fist. I lift my leg. This is interesting.
This is beautiful, though, because it shows the practicality of yoga no matter what.
I'm not doing it all the way full out.
That's okay.
Excuse me for,
You're
yeah,
just-
this is different. But anyway, I'll demonstrate it at a different time. The reason
Okay.
being is because I'm on these heels and I don't want to hurt myself.
I was going to say, come on,
Essentially,
even if you didn't
it's-
touch the ground, but it's okay.
And I started to stumble now.
Oh,
Do that.
no, we don't want that. We don't
Yeah,
want
it's
that.
okay. But you can find it on YouTube. I would always suggest to look up Kemetic yoga through Yoga Skills Kemetic Yoga or my father, Yasera Hotep. But what it does is it opens up every channel in your body, and it gives you a state of comfort, a peace of mind. And it also helps to control the breath. It helps to relax your muscles and kind of get you out of that fight or flight mode, especially if you are dealing with something at work or something like that. It only takes a few minutes. So,
That's-
Ma'at Ka.
That's beautiful because so much of the time people feel like they don't have time. So that's excellent. Ashe. Okay, who's next? What is your favorite posture? And be prepared to show us a little something.
So my favorite posture is Shavasana. And it's not any of the other movements. I practice mostly vinyasa, just breath, movement, and at the end we lie down on our back. That is my favorite. And it's my favorite because it helps me to tap in my body sensations and what I'm feeling. So for me, I go through my breath from the top of my head all the way down to my toes, just to see if there's anywhere else that has tension that I can just release to the earth, because I know Mother Earth is holding me. And so it helps to my stress reduction to lessen. It helps me to get back into alignment. Even when I've traveled or I've been out amongst a lot of people, I come in the house and I just lie on the ground in Shavasana, or I lie on my front, just to ground myself, reduce my stress levels, and calm my center. So that's my favorite.
So you lie on your back and on your belly? Do both.
I do both.
I mean, I'm waiting.
Just
By
lying on your back, Shavasana.
By Shavasana.
Lying on your back like corpse pose. You just
Exactly.
all the way down.
Or
Yes.
Cross pose.
Yes. Who is next?
I'll go. So again, I went from dynamic practices to now I mainly teach and practice yin and restorative. So one of my favorite poses you can do in either class is called waterfall. And so you lay on your back, but you put your legs up the wall. And this pose has so many benefits. Physically, if you have tight hamstrings, it's a good stretch for the hamstrings. It actually lengthens your entire, what we call posterior chain, from the back of the neck all the way down to the feet. But what I love about it is that it is an inversion, but it's not like I got to do a headstand or a handstand, but I'm getting all the benefits of taking the feet over my head. So what are the benefits of an inversion? One, it is calming for the nervous system, okay? Number two, reversing the circulation. That is part of what helps calm the nervous system. And it also can help with, if you have insomnia, it also helps with restless leg syndrome. So my partner has restless leg syndrome. So at night before we go to bed, they throw their legs up the headboard for about 3 to 5 minutes. Not only does it make you calm, but you'll sleep better. And if you have any of those issues, it'll help that as well. And lastly, well, not lastly, second to last, inversions are automatic mood boosters. You're bringing the circulation to the head and the face. When you come up, you literally have a different perspective on life. When I was in private practice and I would have a hard day with patients, I would literally go in another room and do a handstand or cartwheel, and I would get up and I would be like, there's a rush, and I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to go. And then lastly, it is anti-aging, so bringing the circulation to the face as well. So legs up the wall, also called waterfall. It's very accessible. You can also, if you need to, place like a pillow underneath the low back or the hips or blanket or anything like that. But ultimately, favorite is legs up the wall. And most of my students always request, can we do legs up the wall? So enjoy it. Try it tonight. It's your homework.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. No, ma'am. We should have had a yoga mat right here on the
I have a
floor.
mat right here. If that's a need.
Oh, see.
No? So what? So
He's about to show out, y'all. He's about to show out. Y'all just need to know.
So I am indeed. As Dr. Cayley said, yoga is the elixir of life, of immortality, anti-aging, as she put it. So for me, what is my favorite yoga posture is an exceedingly difficult question. Someone asked me one time, who's my favorite musician? And I said, depends on who's playing what. And yoga is like that for me as well. Thank you so very much. All these postures are gorgeous, and what can be said of one of them can be said of all of them. Like, the diamond. I always tell people, the diamond is exceedingly comprehensive, deceptively simple looking, you know? But you think about it, that's true for all these postures. They're all deceptively, some simple looking, but they're all very comprehensive. And that is that. But what I like about my favorite posture is the headstand. Because some of the reasons Dr. Kelly mentioned, but also because the headstand is acutely alchemical. It's a direct, straight line to transmutation, especially if the right focuses, the foci are engaged as breath, chakras, colors, senses, all this stuff. Very, very powerful alchemy. So I'm going to demonstrate. I don't know if I have enough room.
Well, move to the center of the stage. You don't have to be down there. Yeah. Okay, we got 5 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm going to do this in 2 minutes.
Okay.
there's 10,000 different positions one can engage in while on the head. But these are the basic ones that do this. So many. As I say, the headstand is incredibly comprehensive because it engages everything in ways that you not normally touch, right? The thing is that
Ashe.
one reason it's so alchemical is that we allow gravity, the spirit of the earth, to do the work for you. So you're very intimately communing with that. So transformation happens.
Beautiful. Ashe, thank you. And so, in honor of the time, Baba Atiba, how can people find you?
All you gotta do is find Tassili. I teach at the temple of Rosa, the Iron Central Love Temple. I also do private classes. My wife can tell you how to contact me. But if all else fails, Tassili, I am essentially Temple of Love. If you're doing anything meaningful, you're gonna be there. Have it upstairs. I am a moment.
Thank you. Thank you. Ashe. And Queen Kia, how can we find you?
I'm on Facebook. That's probably the easiest way. I can give you my phone number. I like direct communication. I'm not really into social media. However, people do reach me on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Iyabo, which is my first name, Iyabo. Ifafunmilola, Faluade, Faluade.
Okay, so can you give it a little slower, my love? Iyabo. See, I could have remembered that one. Iyabo.
Iyabo. And Faluade, Faluade. I'm just give you my phone number because it's easier to contact.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
404-583-8350.
Beautiful. Thank you. Say your full name again. It's just so melodic.
I have a lot of names, but
Well, the one.
Facebook at least is my first, middle, and last name. Iyabo, Ifafunmilola, Faluade.
That's just beautiful. That's a whole mantra.
I know. I don't like for people to mess up my name.
That's why I didn't. That's why I did. And, oh yes, please.
What's my phone number? 706. I just got a new one. 706-483-3711. If you do text me, send me the email as well.
Ashe. And Queen Charone. Thank you. Ashe. And Dr. Kaylee.
Yes, so my yoga studio is located in the heart of Kirkwood, right on Hosea L. Williams Drive. If you know where La Petite Marche is, yeah, everyone knows that. We're like 2 doors down from there on the same side. You can find us there 7 days a week. We have classes starting at 6 a.m., latest class at 7:15. We have monthly sound bath with my dear friend Malaika. We also offer Reiki appointments. We have Hatha yoga, yin yoga, restorative yoga, vinyasa, and yoga nidra, which is yogic sleep. You can find us, I guess the best way, our website is just all one word, Sati, S-A-T-I, SatiYogaWellness.com, all one word. On Instagram, we are at Sati Yoga ATL, really simple. And you'll see all the things that we got going on. We got a lot going on. We got a retreat. We just came back from Portugal. We're going to Peru in May to hike Machu Picchu.
I want to go.
Yeah, join us. The deadline for that is the 17th of November. And then the next fall, we're going to Crete and Santorini. And I just started my second cohort of yoga teacher training. This is our second group of students. They just started on the 1st of November, and it runs through March 15th. But we have our yoga teacher training every year, starting in early November. It's 200 hours with myself and 2 other melanated teachers. We are trauma-informed as well. So if you have any questions, you can find me again on Insta at Sati Yoga ATL or the website.
Show them your
Oh.
your yoga gear.
So this is part of our Sati swag. And so this is our logo. So we have heavily meditated, and then our logos on the side, Sati Yoga and Wellness. And we have a whole shop, which you can also find on our website, of just things I've designed of sayings that I like. We have another one called License to Chill. Our studio is non-heated. I don't think I mentioned that because I want it non-heated. So it's not like 100 degrees in there. So a lot of the yoga studios are hot yoga, hot, and which is fine. But I had a lot of friends who were like, I can't practice in the heat because either I have, blood pressure issues or autoimmune diseases or I'm going through menopause, whatever it is. They're like, we don't want the heat. So in my studio, it's not cold, but it's just a normal temperature. You build your own heat in your body, tapas. But I made it non-heated to make it more accessible to more bodies that I could. So yeah, I forgot to tell you that. We are non-heated, so don't think you're gonna have to come and sweat and all that. But we focus on rest. So we do restorative yoga every single night. Our whole thing is you don't have to earn your rest. Rest is your divine birthright. Take your time. So our studio is very chill. We do a lot of rest. I am 1996 Hosea L. Williams Drive.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'd like to know more about your travel, your retreats. That sounds wonderful. Well, I thank you all. I'm going to turn the mic over to Salim. This has been so enlightening, though, just the different journeys that you've been on. And really, it's like one continuum, with many different facets. I hope you all got some really good info, some jewels, and thank you for your presence.
Yes, thank you for coming. I learned a little, and I'm now once again inspired to start teaching again. So you'll be able to come to me and ask me where my studio is. Thank you.